All right, so hi everybody. I wanted to kind of interview my good friend Bonnie, and just thinking about our Big Brain Fit workshop coming up. I just wanted to have Bonnie share how, personally, things like Alzheimer's and dementia have affected her family and how that affects her life and everything too. But first, I just kind of want to share, Bonnie is a patient in our office, but a lot more than just a patient. I feel like Bonnie's family was one of the first families that we ever met coming to Marysville. And I feel so blessed because we got to not just meet Bonnie, but met her brother and sister-in-law, her mom and dad, and her family was almost like our family, and that's how we met Bonnie, was through, I think her brother and sister-in-law started coming, then her mom and dad started coming, and they were just wanting us to see how we could help their daughter Bonnie. And so when we first met Bonnie, she had a whole list of health issues. And I'd just like her to share kind of where she was initially coming in and how we've helped her. And then I want to talk about just how we've seen, what's happened with her mom, how that's affected everybody. So, good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, when I first was told about your office, I didn't want to come because I had been to doctors. I'd had 3 pulmonary embolisms. I was on like 17 different medications. I just thought, a chiropractor is going to help me? Oh my gosh, why I waited so long, I don't know, because the doctors told me I'd probably be in a wheelchair or dead by 50. Well, I'm going to be 58 in 2 months. And I'm not in a wheelchair. I'm off almost all my medications. I'd be off all of them if I hadn't got interrupted with my care here. But my mom is more important to me than myself right now. And I'm starting to get back in though. But
and just with that, I want to share, Bonnie, she did so good. She was that patient that was on the 17 meds and got off of almost all of them. And
all but one.
If you know Bonnie, she loves to talk to people and loves to be around people, and she just gives and gives and gives. And so she worked in our office. A lot of you guys may recognize Bonnie. She worked, I think, in our office for 5 years.
Yeah.
And just did amazing. And that's what we love her heart. But then in that time frame, we started to see where things in her life, as like not distraction, but just like how you couldn't necessarily work anymore because of what happened, starting to happen with your mom. And that's what I'd just like you to share, just how that's affected, your mom's Alzheimer's, dementia, how that's affected you now and your family, and just kind of the reality of how this disease is one of the worst ones possible. So.
Well, this is my mom and dad. They have been married for 66 years. And they are the 2 dearest people to me. And I didn't realize it. We didn't realize what was happening to Mom until we started getting a lot of phone calls at work. We started realizing that payments weren't being made. She started seeing things that weren't there, forgetting people's names that she'd recently been with. And it became very worrisome because we've known so many people that have had people just drive off and be lost, have gotten hurt because they fall down. And all of this was starting to take place in our lives. And we'd heard of cancer, we've heard of diabetes, you hear Alzheimer's, dementia, but you don't really hear about it. You don't hear what people go through. And it is actually the saddest disease there is. People with any other disease can tell you where it hurts. They can tell you what treatments they're going to try. But people with dementia, no matter what type, they can't express the ways where their pain is. They can't express what they don't understand anymore. That Mom used to take care of 3 sets of books, the farm, the personal, and the church. And she got to the point where she couldn't even write a check. And the biggest awakening was when the bill from the IRS came where she hadn't paid the taxes. And that was a big thing because you pay your taxes or they come looking for you. And Dad and I were both like, this is unbelievable. She's so well organized. And then we realized that she wasn't. She had lost her organization. She had lost her ability to keep track of things that were just normally daily duties. And it became to the point where she can still dress herself if we put the clothes in front of her and are there to balance her and help her. She still believes she cooks and cleans every day. She hasn't cooked or cleaned in probably 5, 6, 7 years. I take food down to the house and she'll say, well, make sure you take some food home with you. I made plenty. And I'm like, I made it, but you don't dare tell her that. And then she starts having these dreams, and she literally will wake us up and call me or get Dad up. She's had Dad walk outside to bring the kids in that were playing too close to the road at 3 in the morning. You have to laugh at times because the person that you've always known is no longer there. You can see their body, but you don't see their beautiful mind. And some types of dementia, you lose all your memories. Some, which fortunately for Mom, she has her long-term memories. But during the debates of the presidential, Dad actually found her up around the kitchen table, serving all the candidates tea and cookies and yelling at them for being so rude. So, some of the things that happen are you gotta laugh at, but they're so true to her. So you can't tell her there's no one in the room. You can't tell a person that they're wrong because they don't understand that they're wrong now.
And I think that's where, my heart is to get as many people as possible to this Brain Fit workshop, because I feel like it is the worst disease, because at least things like cancer, heart disease, for the most part, people pass quickly. Alzheimer's and dementia, it can last for decades, and it doesn't just affect that person, but I see that it affects everybody in the entire family. And so that's what I'd just like you to share, Bonnie, because the stats are now 1 in 6 women age 65 and older in our country are now getting a diagnosis of Alzheimer's. By the time you get to be 85, if you make it to 85, your chances of having Alzheimer's is 50%. And it's like, if you don't have it yourself, then chances are you could be a caretaker for somebody close to you that has it. And so it's just so important that you learn how to protect your brain, and people that are in your family, that they learn, because if your parents don't understand how to keep their brain healthy, or your siblings, chances are you could have to be a caretaker for them someday. And you just kind of want to share just how it is just so taxing on your life with that.
Well,
so.
Both of my mom's sisters had a form of dementia. And so I believe can be hereditary depending upon lifestyle. I am so thankful I've been coming into Dr. Katie, because I am trying to do everything I can to prevent that from happening with myself. But I got backtracked on my care here, and I try to get in as often as I can, because you have to kind of give up. If you're a caretaker, you give up your life to take care of that person that you love. And it's well worth it. But you have to then learn how to deal with how to take care of them and then get your life back on track, which it's been 5 years almost now. And I'm just now starting to get my life back on track so I can get myself taken care of. Because there's times where you get a phone call and you have to go and sit with them, and you're babysitting kids that aren't there. You are writing checks with them, or whatever it is they want to do at the time, and there's nothing really going on, but you have to play with them. And otherwise they can get very upset. My father, he's been a farmer all his life. He's 87 years old, you can't stop him. He will not put my mother into a care facility, and so therefore we are her caregivers, and he is there with her as much as possible. I mean, he is beside her. But he has given up a lot of his time because of the love he has for her. My family, my brothers and sister-in-laws, they get to help with that also, and they don't see it as much as us, but they've come to understand that there is an issue where their mother, my mom, is not the mom that she used to be. that their grandkids, she doesn't always remember. She remembers way back when, clear as a bell. But up current, this morning, she even asked me, she said, what are we going to do to feed all these people? I said, well, what people? Well, the people after the funeral. Well, we had a funeral 2 days ago, and that just suddenly popped up in her mind in a dream last night. And so we worked real hard today trying to explain to her that that funeral was gone. And so I was late getting here. But you do what you've got to do because you have no control over time. Time is not anything to them. A person with dementia or Alzheimer's is someone who still needs love, but so many people back away and shy away from them. My mom does 100% better when she has people she doesn't see every day come in and just sit and talk to her. So if you know people, go and sit and talk with them. And for anything, for the caregivers, because the caregivers are kind of left alone, and there's a lot of places to go for support, but people leave you alone and don't act like they should be around you or like it's contagious. It's not contagious.
Right.
It's actually helpful though for people to come and talk to you, talk to the person with dementia, even Alzheimer's, because they don't understand what's happening to them.
Right.
And every once in a while, mom does have a clarity, a point where she's realizes something's wrong, and then she cries. I have a friend whose mother beats him up when he comes in because she doesn't recognize him and thinks it's a stranger trying to do harm to her, and all he wants to do is hug his mom. I have a friend whose wife got in her car one day and drove off and ended up in Cincinnati, and she's now in a nursing home because she has to be watched 24/7. The things and the people I've met that are dealing with this disease, it's nothing you can prepare for. Nothing you can prepare for. The only thing you can prepare for is prevention. And that's why I'm here with you today. The spine is just something that is so important to keep in line, to keep that correct posture, to learn how to eat properly and the proper things to do. There's all kinds of people out there wanting to tell you, take this, do this, have this, but they're temporary. They're not fix-it. They're just temporary. Coming to you, I've had things permanently fixed. And sure, there's things that are probably in me that are so far gone that you probably won't be able to straighten out. But at the same point in time, 99.9% of the stuff I've had, you have helped me tremendously. Because through the grace of God, your hands have helped me and my family. And I thank my brother and sister-in-law for constantly hounding me to get in here to see you, because otherwise I would not have the strength to lift my mother after the health care I've gone through, to help lift my mother. And because she does become like a dead weight, and you have to lift her. You have to balance her. She has no stability. And
just the last thing I kind of want to share with that is, that's obviously why we're holding an event like this, because I feel like across the board, whether it's the epidemic of children that have ADD, ADHD, dyslexia, learning disabilities, which is about 1 in 8 children, some type of learning disability, to we see, in the teenagers to, 40, 50 years old, epic rates of anxiety, depression, sleep problems, just mood and brain disorders, to then you see Alzheimer's, dementia rising high and high. It's like across the board, our brains are not healthy. And so that's what this workshop is all about, is not just preventing and steps you can do like prevention to like absolutely the latest research on getting your brain working better, but it's how to get it functioning better now, how to have better focus, better clarity, better mood, better sleep, to just have your best life possible. So I thank you, Bonnie, for sharing, because I know that this is it's a tough thing.
And get started with Katie as soon as you can, because Dr. Katie, I just wish I knew you when I was in my teens or before.
I wasn't
well,
alive.
Of course. Okay, tell how old I am now. But you want to get your children in, because children fall and everything, and you wait so long until there's a problem. Prevent the problems. Come seek out Dr. Katie, because Maximized Living has just done so much for me, and it can do so much for everyone else. And this dementia issue, it's growing. So
Yeah, I All right. Well, thank you for sharing, Bonnie, and we'll look forward to seeing everybody at the Brain Fit Makeover.